Revealed, a grandmother's incredible comeback after my daughter's shocking audio message. The Saturday morning air felt electric, thick with the aroma of cinnamon and pumpkin spice. Mary stood at her kitchen counter, her heart racing as news spread through the neighborhood like wildfire. Her teenage granddaughter, Lily, had unwittingly sent an audio message to the entire school district, revealing their family's financial struggles and the judgment they faced from their affluent neighbors. The whispers had begun, and Mary's world felt ripped apart. This wasn't just about money, it was about respect and dignity, the very core of who she was. Time stretched as she imagined the hushed conversations swirling around Maplewood. In moments, she felt naked, exposed. Hadn't she spent her life pouring love and effort into this community? Every bake sale, every potluck, was meant to build bridges, yet now those very bridges felt as if they were crumbling beneath her. Just last week, she had shared a laugh with the equally polite but distant faces of her neighbors as they exchanged recipes, never knowing their bond was so fragile. Lily's tears echoed down the hall. "I didn't mean to, Grandma," she sobbed, her wide eyes reflecting despair. Mary's heart ached. She knew the pressure the girl felt, the weight of high school and social expectations. But as Mary watched Lily, it took everything in her to hold back the tears of shame and fear swelling in her own eyes. If the community was going to judge them, then Mary vowed she would not let their judgment define her family. Fueled by a moment of conviction, Mary thought of all the families like theirs, those who suffered silently, under the thumb of those who flaunted their wealth. Inspiration sparked in her heart. Why not take control? Why not turn the tables and unite the community instead? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With renewed determination, Mary gathered her longtime friends, those stalwarts of the community who understood the value of hard work and love. They set the date and spread the word: a bake sale, a community gathering, to raise funds for struggling families, including her own. Flour dust danced in the air around them as they whipped together batter and frosting. Each cupcake, each loaf of bread, became a symbol of hope, of resilience. As the bake sale took shape, Mary found herself not just baking treats but baking stories. The conversations shifted. People began to speak, share, connect. Families slowly opened up about their own trials, moments of vulnerability that had long been hidden. Painful glances transformed into warm camaraderie. But amid this newfound unity, there was still conflict. Lily felt torn, guilty for the uproar her mistake had caused. "Grandma, I never wanted this," Lily said quietly one evening, the moon casting soft shadows on their porch. "I never wanted people to look at us like that." Mary, touched by her granddaughter's raw honesty, shared her own teenage struggles. Once, everything felt like a choice between food and bills. "But, honey, there's strength in our story, and others need to know they're not alone." Then came the blow. A petition from more affluent families, filled with concern about the neighborhood's reputation, surfaced. A desperate effort to shut them down. Mary felt the ground shift beneath her. The weight of judgment and the fragility of community loomed large. Would she stand up and fight, risking everything for a chance at dignity? The answer lay just ahead, and as autumn leaves began to fall, so did a deep realization. Hope was still flickering in the shadows. Mary stood at the edge of her yard, staring down the street as the last of the evening sun disappeared. Shadows began to cloak Maplewood, and with them, the uncertainty of what lay ahead. A deep resolve bubbled within her. She needed to confront this petition, and not just for her family but for every voice that felt small and unheard. The thought gnawed at her: how could a few people, with their silver spoons and polished lives, dictate the worth of a community? Families were connected through the struggles they faced, not through the dollar signs they flaunted. She felt empowered to fight not just for herself but for Lily, for every child who might feel the sting of judgment in the eyes of their peers. Placing her hand on her heart, Mary took a deep breath and marched inside. The aroma of fresh baked goods lingered in their cozy, well-loved kitchen, a reminder of the happiness they could create together. "Lily," she called. "It's time to talk." Moments later, Lily appeared, her expression taut with unease. "Grandma, are you sure you want to go through with this? What if it makes things worse?" Mary knelt in front of her, drawing her into a warm embrace. "This is our chance, sweetheart. A chance to show them that we are more than just our struggles. There's strength in vulnerability and honesty, even if it's scary. But everyone will see us as failures," Lily whispered, her voice shaking. Mary pulled back to look into her granddaughter's eyes. "No, they'll see that we're survivors. We are all a part of this community, the rich and the poor. So many of us are just trying to make it through." A flicker of hope sparked in Lily's eyes. "What do you think we should do?" "We face it together. We use this moment to share our stories, our truths. And we start with the bake sale," Mary replied, determination radiating from her. That week, they transformed their bake sale into something far grander, a festival for community support. It would be a day of sharing, storytelling, and unity. Mary rallied friends and neighbors, asking them to bring their stories and their own struggles to the table. As the event neared, the entire neighborhood was buzzing with activity. People began to share their challenges and joys in preparation. Mary received message after message from families she'd never known who wished for the opportunity to join in. Hands that were once hesitant now eagerly kneaded dough and mixed frosting, creating a tapestry of resilience. But even as the excitement grew, a dark cloud lingered. The petitioners, emboldened by their stature, were not backing down. They began to voice their concerns publicly, voicing slanderous remarks about the festival, sowing seeds of division among their neighbors. Mary felt the weight of it all, like an anchor dragging her down. As she stepped outside to gather her thoughts one evening, she noticed a small group of parents, whispering furiously at the little park across the street. The sight of them felt like a punch to the gut. Her heart raced as it confirmed her biggest fear: the tension was rising. "I can't let them win," she murmured, her voice a fierce whisper to the wind. And as if the universe sensed her determination, Lily joined her, standing silently by her side, their fingers interlaced in solidarity. "Whatever happens, we'll do this together," Lily chimed, courage gleaming in her eyes. Mary squeezed her hand, gratitude washing over her. "Yes, we will. But we must be ready. This isn't just about us anymore, it's about our entire neighborhood." As they watched the others gather, discussions barely hanging on civility, Mary knew the stakes had never been higher. Heart pounding, she took a step forward, ready to speak. Would the community stand together, or would fear prevail? But just as she collected her thoughts, a shattering scream pierced through the crowd, throwing the festival into chaos. What was happening? The scream echoed, loud and piercing, slicing through the murmur of anxious voices. It seemed to catch everyone off guard, a sudden storm after the brief lull of hope. Mary's heart raced as she turned to Lily. The girl's eyes were wide, a mix of confusion and fear. "What was that?" Lily's voice trembled as she squeezed Mary's hand tighter. "I don't know," Mary replied, fighting to keep her own fears at bay. She stepped forward, instinct driving her to seek the source of the commotion. Around them, murmurs shifted into chaos as people scattered in all directions, their unity cracking like thin ice under their feet. Mary caught sight of Janice, one of the festival organizers, her face pale, lips trembling. She was pointing towards the back of the crowd. "Someone's hurt. We need help." Mary pushed through the throng of people, her mind focused on the cries that had turned into desperate calls for assistance. She reached a small circle of onlookers. With each step, dread grew in her stomach. When she reached the center, her heart sank. A young boy lay on the ground, his face pale and eyes shut. The tears streamed down his mother's cheeks. Mary recognized him: Ethan, the sweet child who walked home with Lily from the bus stop after school. He had tripped during a game of tag, the laughter turned to screams too quickly. "Please, someone call an ambulance," shouted Ethan's mother, her voice strained and shattered. Mary quickly dropped to her knees, instinctively reaching for the little boy's wrist. "Ethan, honey, can you hear me?" she urged, her voice steady despite the panic swirling around her. His eyes fluttered open, confusion turning to recognition. Mary smiled at him, willing her calm to seep into his veins. "You're going to be okay. Just breathe." Lily stood beside her, fear giving way to courage as she knelt close, holding Ethan's hand. "You're strong, Ethan. Remember when we raced each other to the swing set?" His lips twitched slightly, a silent acknowledgement. Mary could see his mother's shoulders unclench a little as they focused on comforting him. As sirens approached, the crowd thinned but the tension thickened. A small group of parents, those same ones Mary had seen earlier, emerged from the shadows. Their faces were twisted in disapproval, eyes darting at Mary, Lily, and the scene before them. "See? This is what happens when you drag everyone into your mess," one of them shouted across the grass, their disdain palpable. "This festival was a terrible idea. Look what it's caused." Mary's heart burned with injustice at their words. They saw the festival as a threat, but Mary saw only strength and community. She turned to Lily, who stared wide-eyed at the gathering storm of accusations. "Don't listen to them, Lily. We're doing the right thing," Mary said fiercely, though doubt gnawed at her. As the paramedics arrived, the distraction of urgency pulled the crowd's attention away from the harsh whispers of judgment. Yet the energy in the air had shifted. Mary caught Lily's eyes, brave yet scared. "Whatever it takes, we'll show them their fear can't overpower our community," Mary vowed quietly, though new fears gnawed at her heart. The stakes felt impossibly high, but she couldn't turn back now. She wouldn't. As the paramedics worked swiftly, Mary realized the festival was no longer just about resilience. It had become a battleground for the soul of their community, for every child, every parent. But within that chaos, was it enough to make the change they desperately needed? Just then, a figure emerged from the crowd, holding something. It glinted in the fading sunlight, a sharp contrast to the gravity of the moment. What did they bring? Mary's heart raced once more. Was this a sign of hope, or another division brewing beneath the surface? Mary's gaze locked onto the figure moving through the crowd. The sunlight caught the object in their hands, revealing a shimmering trophy, adorned with intricate detail and glimmering like a beacon amidst the tension. It was a reminder of the festival's original spirit: the joy, celebration, and community togetherness. As they got closer, Mary's heart lifted, but a pang of worry lingered. Who was holding it? Ethan's grandmother. Lily's voice broke through Mary's thoughts, and she felt a rush of recognition. Mrs. Ramirez had always been supportive, always there, cheering for the kids at their games. But this time, her expression was different. A blend of sorrow and determination crossed her face, and Mary held her breath. "I found this," Mrs. Ramirez announced, lifting the trophy high above her head for everyone to see. "This trophy represents a foundation, a way to bring us all together. It's not just about awards, it's about the unity and the lives we touch during this festival." The crowd stilled for a moment, confusion hanging thick in the air. The whispers of dissent started to quiet as parents exchanged glances, their frowns momentarily fading. "That's right," Mary called out, her voice rising above the murmurs. "It's not just a festival. It's a chance for all of us to connect, to celebrate our children and our community." She felt the words spill out, an impulse ignited by the rising hope she saw around her. "Why don't we show our support?" Mrs. Ramirez stepped into the space, motioning to the others. "The children need to see us stand together, not fall apart." Taking a step back, Mary's heart raced with a renewed sense of purpose. She felt a shift, the crowds were beginning to draw closer, their frustration giving way to curiosity. One by one, parents began to gather, stepping forward to join Mrs. Ramirez and Mary. Lily pulled Mary's hand tighter. "Will they really come together?" she whispered, her eyes wide with uncertainty. I believe they can, Mary replied, her voice steady. Just look at what we've done for Ethan already. We have to believe in the good. As more families edged their way toward the small group now forming around the trophy, someone in the back of the crowd shouted, "Together, we can help Ethan." The cry reverberated, creating ripples of agreement. More voices joined in, and the moment began to swell. The energy shifted from despair to defiance. But just as hope seemed to conjure light in the midst of chaos, Mary saw the familiar faces of dissenters, clutching their children tightly, whispering amongst themselves. One of them, the same parent who had shouted earlier, stepped forward, their expression hardened. Is this what we want? To encourage the chaos? This festival has brought nothing but danger. You're wasting your breath. Mary's heart sank. Did they really think like that? A sense of dread pooled in the pit of her stomach as the voice threatened to ignite old fears among the gathered crowd. She had to act fast before the division snuffed out the flicker of unity. Please, everyone remember why we started this. Mary shouted, her heart racing as she searched for the right words. Think of Ethan, think of your kids. We can't let fear tear us apart. We're stronger together. For a moment, it felt like the air itself held its breath. Then, from the back, another voice chimed in, softer yet resolute. Actually, we can try to support one another. That's what community is about. Charged with renewed energy, Mary felt a wave of hope wash over her. Let us bring Ethan home, Lily echoed quietly, her voice holding a strength that belied her small frame. But as new alliances swirled like a warm breeze, Mary couldn't shake the feeling that they had only scratched the surface of a deeper issue. If the festival was a battlefield, what would the next attack look like? Just then, a disturbance rippled through the crowd, excitement mixed with confusion. Another figure approached, this one cloaked in an air of authority. Who were they? Mary's heart raced again. Was this person bringing more disruption, or could they be an unexpected ally in their fight? As the figure drew closer, Mary could see a badge clipped to their jacket, someone from the local council. Her heart sank further. This could mean trouble, or perhaps a glimmer of hope. The crowd shifted, parting slightly as the newcomer approached Mrs. Ramirez, who still stood protectively with the trophy. Their expression was stern, but the glint in their eyes betrayed a flicker of curiosity. Excuse me, is this the council member? Hesitated, taking in the faces around her. Is this gathering sanctioned? Mary felt a swell of frustration rise in her chest. Here they were, finally finding their footing, and this person was poised to squash it. We're not causing trouble, she interjected, trying to keep her voice steady. We're standing together, supporting one of our own. The council member glanced between Mary and the trophy, the weight of the moment sinking in. This festival has been known for its obstacles in the past, she began cautiously. If you're not careful, it could become a catalyst for more issues. And if we don't come together, what then? Mary challenged, her pulse racing. We've lost enough already. The crowd murmured in agreement, emboldened by Mary's passion. Even the descending families seemed momentarily shaken, glancing at one another as if questioning their own fears. Taking a deep breath, Mrs. Ramirez lowered the trophy slightly, her unwavering determination shining through. We aim for unity, not chaos. We're showing our children that when one of us is in need, we must all step up. The council member shifted her stance. I understand. But if you want the festival to be a success, we need to address community concerns. There are real worries about safety. Mary's heart raced again, not from fear, but from a deeper, burning need to push through the doubt. If we continue to focus on what could go wrong, we'll never see what could go right, she exclaimed, courage bubbling in her chest. Ethan's situation is proof. We're here today, together, despite everything. Isn't that what community thrives on? The council member paused, visibly torn. Her gaze flickered around the crowd, absorbing the energy, parents standing shoulder to shoulder, children looking up in wide-eyed hope. Perhaps she was beginning to see it, too, the real strength in a shared purpose. Just then, a woman's voice rang out from the back, a mother known to speak her mind. We can't let fear overshadow our children's hopes. What kind of example will we set if we let division win? Exactly. Another chimed in. The chorus swelled, voices rising in support of unity. Mary's heart soared, the moment feeling electric. But silence fell abruptly as the council member raised her hand. All right, she said slowly, the weight of her decision palpable. If you're committed to this, I'll support a community forum during the festival to discuss concerns. But it has to be productive, no shouting matches. That essay start. Mrs. Ramirez exclaimed. Mary felt the ground beneath her shift, the laughter and playful banter of children returning to the atmosphere. But just as she began to breathe a little easier, a distant siren wailed somewhere beyond the festival, pulling at the corner of her mind. What had been a celebration now felt fraught with tension, the previous moment of solidarity still a whisper in the air. Could this momentum last? And what more revelations would come with the forum? As conversations began to swirl once again, Mary scanned the crowd, looking for Lily. But as she turned, her daughter appeared to be talking to someone with wild eyes and a frantic expression. What do they want? Mary thought, her instincts clenching. What now lay ahead for them all? Mary's heart raced again, the frantic energy ripping through her like wildfire. She pushed through the crowd, her eyes locked on Lily's bright hair, easily spotted among the sea of adults. As she approached, she could hear snippets of the conversation. The voice was raised, urgent. Please, you have to listen, the stranger said, hands flailing. It was a grandmother, her face creased with worry. This is about Ethan. You don't understand what's really happening. Mary's stomach dropped as she reached them. Was this how the rumors began? Slowly, she stepped into the fray. Lily, who is this? The grandmother turned, eyes brimming with unshed tears. I'm sorry, I should have introduced myself. I'm Rose. I know Ethan's family. I have important information. Mary glanced at Lily, whose expression shifted from confusion to concern. Mom, I think she might know something about the festival. No one had actual proof, Rose rushed on, her voice trembling. But I overheard something. They want to shut it down for good, and there are people who think keeping this festival alive can make a difference, that it can help everyone recover. The crowd around them began to murmur softly, the air thickening with tension. Mary's mind raced. What do you mean, shut it down? Did you hear something specific? Rose stepped closer, lowering her voice. There are meetings. Behind closed doors. Influential people talking about using the violence to reopen old wounds. They think it's too soon to have gatherings like this. The words hit Mary like a punch to the gut. She looked around, the faces of the crowd shifting from hope to fear. Were they really being scrutinized by those they had hoped were on their side? The council member had already expressed concerns. You must have proof. We can't just take your word. I know it sounds unbelievable, Rose pressed, her eyes darting nervously. But I've got a friend who's deep in there. This could all be turned upside down if we don't act now. Mary felt the oppressive weight of doubt press down on her, but also a spark kindling within her. If we rally together, if we stand firm, we can show them they're wrong. We have to believe in what we've started. Lily's face lit up, and Mrs. Ramirez stepped closer, nodding along. The crowd began to regain their energy, the sparks of hope igniting again. They stood together, holding tightly to their gathering, their voices rising in a collective heartbeat. But as the noise grew, the unease returned in a flood. What if they have more powers behind them? Someone asked from the crowd. What if it isn't safe? Mary's heart raced anew, battling doubt and a fierce desire to push back. Safety comes from unity. Fear only binds us. If we're together, they can't tear us apart. This festival is ours. Cheers erupted from the crowd, but Mary could still feel the weight of fear lurking in the edges of their excitement. Even as the meeting poster hung nearby, flapping gently in the breeze, a bitter chill ran through her. Let us make it happen, Rose said, eyes locked onto Mary. But we have to be quick. The weight of urgency pressed down hard. What moves would they make now? How far were they willing to go? The sirens in the distance grew louder again. A stark reminder that their desire for connection was clashing with something darker. Who would be the first to strike a deal to keep the festival alive? And at what cost? Mary took a deep breath, caught between hope and dread, feeling the tension intensify. The clock was ticking. Would they find a way to take a stand, or would fear win over their voices once again? The air hung heavy with uncertainty as Mary scanned the crowd, their eyes now wide with worry and whispers. All around her, expressions shifted from hopeful determination to mounting fear. She felt like she was standing on shifting sand, every heartbeat echoing louder in her chest. "Okay," Mary spoke up, gripping Rose's arm tightly. "We need to strategize. Who can we trust? Who will help us fight against this?" A murmur of agreement rippled through the group. People began to exchange nervous glances, talking amongst themselves. "We can start with everyone here," Lily suggested, her voice hesitant but steady. "Together, we can gather proof. We can show them what this festival means to us." Rose nodded, her face lined with worry but also a sense of purpose. "I have contacts in the community. They might have insights we don't. We can't waste any time." Mary felt the fire of determination rising higher within her. "Then let us split up. Find out what we can, who's involved in these meetings and what they're really planning. We need to gather information. I'll talk to the vendors to see if they've noticed anything unusual. I can ask around school," Lily added, her brows knitting in concentration. "Kids pick up a lot more than we think." As the adults shared ideas, Mary found herself reaching out to those around her, feeling a sense of unity forming. The fear and uncertainty began to morph into resolve. It was messy, but they were together. Suddenly, a loud crash distracted them. A group of teenagers had knocked over a table filled with festival flyers. Everyone turned, their momentary focus shifting to the noise. "Shush!" one of the teens shouted, raising his hands in mock surrender. "We're just trying to get your attention. We want in on this fight too." Their laughter rippled through the crowd, cutting through the tension like sunlight through clouds. It was unexpected but welcome. Mary couldn't help but smile as the kids joined the adults. Unity was spilling over. As the conversation continued, Rose pulled Mary aside, her face urgent. "You need to hear this. There's a rumor that someone on the town council is a part of the discussions to shut down the festival. And they're playing both sides." Mary's heart sank. "What do you mean, playing both sides?" "Though they seem supportive in public, they're actually steering the conversations behind doors, fanning the flames of doubt, possibly putting the festival at risk for personal gain," Rose elaborated, her voice unwavering. "We need to expose whoever it is." Mary felt fury bubbling up within her. How dare they meddle with the heart of the community? At that moment, a gust of wind picked up, fluttering the banners that decorated the park. It was a reminder of what they stood to lose. "Let us confront them," Mary declared, adrenaline surging. "We won't back down without a fight. Everyone deserves a voice in this community. We need to take the power back." The crowd erupted into cheers again, their faces alight with purpose. They were ready for battle, ready to safeguard their festival, their gathering, their healing. But just as hope swelled in her chest, her phone buzzed. It was a message from an unknown number. "I have something you need to see about the meetings. Come alone." Mary's breath caught, her heart pounding a beat too quickly. Who could it be? And what did they have for her? With the crowd at her back and the weight of the world on her shoulders, she felt the tension swell. The stakes were higher than ever. What secrets were waiting in the shadows, and what truths would unfold before her? With her heart racing, Mary took a deep breath and stepped away from the crowd. Every part of her screamed to share the message with Rose and the others, but something held her back. This was her chance to uncover the truth, and if it meant going alone, she was willing to take the risk. She made her way to a secluded corner of the park, where the laughter and energy of the festival felt distant, almost muted. The sun was setting, casting a warm golden light that flickered across the grass. Mary glanced around, ensuring no one was following her. She could feel the pulse of her heart in her ears. As she waited, her mind raced. Who could possibly know about the councilman's hidden agenda? Could it be someone ready to help, or someone hoping to bury her deeper in the mess? Just as the weight of uncertainty threatened to overwhelm her, a figure emerged from the shadows. Mary? The voice was familiar, yet unexpected. It was Mr. Henderson, the local librarian. His eyes were serious, but there was a hint of relief in his expression. "I'm glad you came, Mr. Henderson," she said, lowering her voice. "What do you know? Why did you call me?" He took a step closer, glancing back as if expecting someone to appear. "I've been part of some of those council meetings, the ones they think are private. There's a lot going on behind the scenes, more than what Rose told you." Mary's stomach twisted. "I need to know everything." "Okay, but we need to be cautious. There are talks of shutting down not just the festival, but the entire community center. Some believe it's part of a bigger plan to redevelop the whole area. A council member is involved, and it's someone you wouldn't expect." "Who?" Mary pressed, her pulse heightening with each word. "It's Mr. Graham," he said, lowering his voice. "He's been pretending to support the festival, but he's been pushing for changes that only benefit him and a few others." Mary's head spun with the news. Mr. Graham? The same man who smiled and greeted her as she passed him on the street? Her mind raced, recalling all the times he had given speeches about preserving the community spirit. "We need to expose him," she spoke with conviction. "I know. But we need the community's backing. They need to see the truth, or they might not believe it even if we show them. Then let us get them involved." Mary felt a fire rekindle within her. "If we can gather proof from these meetings and rally everyone, we can take a stand." Mr. Henderson nodded, his expression shifting from concern to determination. "Meet me here tomorrow, at noon. I'll bring the documents. But remember, be discreet. If he catches wind of this, it could ruin everything." Mary agreed, her heart steadying. She was finally stepping onto the path of action, the one where she might reclaim what was at stake for her community. As she turned to head back, the world around her felt vibrant and alive again. Hope was flickering like the last rays of sunlight sinking below the horizon, striving against the dark. But just as she reached the crowd, her phone vibrated again. Another message flashed across the screen. "Don't trust anyone, not even your friends. They're watching you." The words chilled her to the bone. Who was watching, and for what purpose? The weight of her mission grew even heavier, but there was no turning back now. Mary could feel the tension in every step she took toward her friends. In their support, she had strength. But could she truly trust them? The shadows seemed to loom larger with every unanswered question. What would they uncover next, and would it be enough to protect their beloved festival? The next day arrived with the sun fighting its way through a blanket of gray clouds. Mary stepped outside with a determination she hadn't felt before, but the ominous message from last night loomed over her like a dark cloud. As she walked toward the park, she couldn't shake the feeling that someone was indeed watching her. She arrived at the secluded corner, her heart racing as she spotted Mr. Henderson leaning against the tree, glancing around anxiously. She quickened her pace, her mind buzzing with questions. "Did you bring the documents?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "I did," he replied, his brow furrowing. "But we have to be quick. I overheard some council members talking last night. They're way ahead of us." "What do you mean?" Panic clawed at her throat. "What do they know?" "They're suspicious of a leak," Mr. Henderson said, his voice low. He pulled out a folder from under his arm, its edges worn and yellowed. "Here. I managed to get notes from the last couple of meetings. It lays out their plans that would destroy everything this community holds dear." As he handed her the folder, Mary felt the heavy weight of responsibility settle in her chest. She flipped it open, her heart racing as she scanned the pages. A pit formed in her stomach as she read line after line detailing proposals for new developments, increased taxes, and a deliberate push to close down places like the festival and community center. This is horrible, she whispered, each word laced with disbelief. We can't just let them do this. Mr. Henderson nodded, his expression grim. We need to gather the community. Show them this. Once they see it, they'll back us. But time is running out. Suddenly, a voice cut through the air. What is going on here? Mary spun around, her heart in her throat. Rose and a few others from the festival committee appeared, curiosity and concern written all over their faces. Rose! Mary exclaimed, clutching the folder closer. I wasn't. It's okay, Rose interrupted, taking a step forward. I overheard you talking about the council. We want in. We need to protect what we love. Mary hesitated. But I don't know if we can fully trust everyone. The weight of last night's warning echoed in her mind. Listen, Rose said, her tone firm. This is bigger than any of us. If there's something shady going on, we have to be together on this. We're stronger united. The determination in Rose's voice sparked a flicker of hope inside Mary. Maybe she wasn't alone in this after all. But doubt still gnawed at her. What if some among them were playing both sides? Okay, Mary agreed. Let us organize a meeting. We'll share everything. But we need to choose wisely who we trust. The group nodded, a sense of urgency settling in. Just as they started discussing plans, Mary's phone buzzed again, breaking the tension. It was another message. You're making a mistake. The truth will cost you. Her heart sank. Who was sending these? As the others debated strategies, Mary stood on the edge of the conversation, her mind swirling. She had thought she could face anything, but how could she make decisions when she felt pulled in so many directions? Could she risk everything for the truth when trust felt so fragile? With resolve, she turned back to them. Let us do this, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. But let us be careful. As they began to formulate their plan, Mary could feel the weight of her choices. The stakes were rising. But what hidden motives stirred beneath the surface? Could they still win the community's trust in time, or would it all unravel before they had a chance to act? Days passed like a whirlwind, each one drawing them closer to the moment of truth. Mary felt the pressure building as the community meeting approached. The weight of her decisions hung heavy, vulnerabilities were laid bare. But this was the chance to rally everyone, to show them the truth about Mr. Graham and the impending danger to their beloved festival. The evening of the meeting finally arrived. Mary stood at the front of the community center, her heart pounding like a drum, the air charged with electricity. Familiar faces flooded the room, some filled with hope while others wore the lines of doubt etched into their brows. She took a deep breath, gathering strength. This was not just about her anymore, it was about all of them. As she opened the meeting, Mr. Henderson stood beside her. He held up the folder, a tangible reminder of everything they fought against. This, he said, his voice steady, details the plans of those who wish to destroy our community spirit. We must unite today to stand against this. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Murmurs began to swell, a chorus of uncertainty. Voices challenged the notion, burdened by the whispers of doubt planted in their minds. Mary stepped forward, her hands shaking slightly but her voice resolute. We need to see the potential in ourselves as a community. If we allow fear to take root, we will lose everything we hold dear. This festival is not just a gathering, it's a lifeline for many of us. She made eye contact with Lily, who watched with wide eyes, her little frame filled with unyielding belief. Could they showcase their strength right here, right now? The chatter grew heated, arguments blossomed among neighbors who were once friends. But what if you're wrong? What if risking the festival brings more trouble? A familiar voice echoed through the room, and Mary recognized it as one of Mr. Graham's supporters. Then we stand together against that trouble. Mary shot back, letting her pent-up passion fuel her voice, invigorating the air around them. Let us make this festival a force of unity. We can support one another. Just then, Rose raised her voice. We have families who will come and support this. Think of Ethan. We can show everyone that we care for one another, that we can heal together. With that, the tension began to shift. Mary's heart raced as whispers of hope started returning, faces turning from doubt to contemplation. Gradually, parents began to join in, sharing their personal stories of struggle, their hopes tangled with fear, yearning for a change. The room began to buzz with a momentum fueled by shared stories, tales of courage echoing through the walls. When one voice rose, another quickly followed. People united, embracing the challenge ahead. Tears glistened, laughter bubbled, connections reignited. Mary felt the chains of fear loosen and fall away. By the time they drew closer to a resolution, the crowd had transformed into a chorus of determination. Plans were laid out for returning to Mr. Graham, armed with the truth. Ideas flowed, and a consciousness of community spirit surged through every heart. As the meeting concluded, Mary felt lighter, her worries fading like mist in the morning sun. Together, we are unstoppable, she said, feeling the energy swell with hope. We can protect our home. Walking outside, the twinkling stars danced above, a reflection of the powerful bond they had just rekindled. For the first time in a long while, Mary felt like they could truly triumph. And they did. The festival kicked off with an unanticipated enthusiasm, a riot of colors, laughter, and love. Vendors offered their goods, and children spun around, gripped by the magic of what they produced together. The energy surged as they witnessed families united, passing around baked treats, barter like no one cared what happened outside their joyful bubble. In the days that followed, Mary learned a tremendous truth: the community wasn't just a collection of houses with friendly faces, it was a family woven together by shared struggles and resilience. The challenges ahead did not vanish, nor did they expect it to be easy, but they found the strength in each other to face whatever came. As they set their sights toward the future, they did so with fierce hearts ready to fight, uplift, and celebrate every victory, no matter how small. As Mary stood, watching the smiles all around her, she realized they had all transformed. From fear to unity. From doubt to unwavering pride in their stories. But they would need to stay vigilant. True strength came through solidarity. With renewed hope, they had found a voice that would not be silenced, a freedom that defined their very essence. Now was the moment for action. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support and not miss the exclusive stories that inspire transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let others see this journey of resilience. Comment below with your reactions, your feelings about this ending, and what inspires you to stand together. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to join this incredible movement, because true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.